Good day, everybody. This is JV Jones, DC Nightlife here. We are spotlighting Stephanie Mickle, the CEO of Mickle Public Affairs. Welcome this evening. It is so great to have you here. I know you're a busy lady, so you're taking time out of your schedule, so we really appreciate that. When I think about public affairs, I'm like, what is that? And I know a lot of people are probably like, what is public affairs? What is that agency? Tell me about Mickle Public Affairs Agency.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me here today. I really appreciate the opportunity to sit down with you and to talk with you about Mickle Public Affairs and just to have a chance to talk about some of the things that we're going to talk about today. So thank you again for the invitation.
You're welcome.
Mickle Public Affairs, and to answer your question, public affairs is political communications. That's really the best way to describe it.
Okay.
It typically will involve something where there's an issue that people really care about, whether it's gun violence or sexual assault or any of the things that you hear in the news a lot. There are people whose job it is to get the word out about why the laws need to change, what kind of changes need to be made, helping people to understand the importance of things that are going on, maybe making people more aware of some of the statistics and the data that they don't know. And so that's where we focus. And we do that through a lot of different ways. We do it through what we call messaging, which is helping people to say the right things.
Okay.
We do it through social media, making sure that there's active things on social media so that if people are on social media, you start to see things that are trending. Everybody kind of focuses on how many Twitter followers they have and how many Instagram followers they have. Well, they're in the political space that happens too.
Okay.
And it's important because so much of information is shared now through social media. So you have it, and then we also do it through press releases, through traditional media, through putting out statements about the importance of certain things. And then we work with candidates, people who are running for office, and it doesn't really matter what office. Every candidate has a platform
Yes.
that they're running on, but they have to find a way to say the things they want to say. And unfortunately, we see those situations where people say the wrong thing, and then everybody's mad at them because they didn't listen to people like me. That's why they hire people like me to help them find a way to not step in it. Now, it's human nature. We've all put our foot in our mouth one time or another. But, there are people who are behind the scenes, professionals like myself, who work with candidates, who work with organizations and associations to help them to get the word out about what they think is important.
Now, I know your phone has to be blowing up these days, really, though, after what's been going on, but we're not going to touch that today.
Right, and then there's some people that really need our services, and I'll be happy to give you my number.
Goodness, yes, they must be coming to DC in droves right about now. But anyway, so I read up on you, and you have great experience. I want you to tell the people how you got to where you are today.
Okay, sure. So I have over 25 years of experience, a political experience. And I know that means I started when I was about 7 years old, but
Me too.
Right, you too, right? But I got my start in college. Actually, I got my start younger than that. My grandfather was a block captain, a Democratic block captain, which meant that he would go around and get people to vote.
Yes.
This is back when black folks first got the right to vote. He would go around and get people to vote. He would help to evaluate candidates. If you wanted to run for something, you needed to come by and get his blessing. There was a lot that went into that, and I just adored my grandfather. So as far as whatever he was doing, I was trying to do, and so I started to learn about politics from him. And then when I got to college, I decided, I really want to study public policy more, because I took a class called Race and Public Policy, and in that class, we talked about how legislation and how regulations and how things like redlining affect people based on race. And I had never heard that before. It was like, how you sort of know something, but you don't have the information to go along with it. Well, public policy gave me the information to substantiate what I might have known based on my experience or gut level.
Right.
And so I decided to study public policy. I got a master's degree from Harvard University in public policy, and then went on to law school at the University of Florida.
Okay.
And I practiced for about 4 years, a traditional law firm. I went to a big, fancy law firm.
Corporate America.
Exactly. I was going to corporate America. And then about 3 years into my law practice, I was on the partnership track. I was scheduled to make partner and doing all the things that you need to do to make partner. I really started to miss public policy. There was like a tugging inside of me. So I went up to my managing partner and told him I really missed public policy and wanted to know if there was any way that I could get involved in public policy. And he put me on he gave me my largest pro bono matter at the firm, which was a clean energy campaign. There was an effort. This is like straight out of Aaron Brockovich, straight out of the movies, a civil action. There was an effort to put a dirty coal plant in a neighboring community that was already a Superfund site. And there were all these poor people and black folks that lived there. And I said to him, I said, well, I don't agree with that. But I'm a good lawyer, and so I can argue both sides of an issue. And if you really want me to do this, if this is what I got to do to get my foot in the door, I'll do it. He says, well, I don't agree with it either, and I need you to help me fight it. So I said, you got it.
Okay.
I love a good fight,
yes,
right?
Yes.
I said, you got it. So we did. And that was after about a year of that, I was ready to come to Washington.
Wow.
And, I said,
DC, here I come.
DC, here I come. I'm going to change the world. Here it goes.
Love it.
Exactly. So I did, and I went to work in Senator Bill Nelson's office.
Okay.
As his, and I started with him at the beginning of the Obama administration. So
Okay.
the very beginning of 2009 as his economics counsel. So I worked on everything related to the recession: taxes, insurance, business, banking, housing, the economy, the auto industry in Detroit, all these major issues that the government was dealing with because our economy was just going, in very, very badly. And that was a really, really wonderful experience. I worked my way up to general counsel. Okay. And I was and am one of 2 African American women who've ever been general counsel to a United States senator. And I say that to say that more women should do the should reach for that brass ring.
Definitely.
They're very highly sought after positions, understandably, but we can certainly do that. There's no reason why we can't and shouldn't have those opportunities.
I totally agree. So at what point did you say, you know what, I'm ready to strike out here on my own?
Well, that was an interesting thing. That actually took a lot of prayer. In my heart, I've always wanted to be a businesswoman. I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. But when I was much younger in my career, I felt like, maybe I need more experience. Maybe I need more education. Maybe I need this. Maybe I need that. And after the government shut down in 2013, I started really thinking about it. It was really just one of those things that was really, really, I couldn't let it go. I knew I was ready to move on. I knew I was ready to leave the Hill. I had been there at that point about 5.5 years. Okay. And so I started really thinking about it. Now, I didn't jump out there right away. Right. It took me a little while to get up my courage. It took me a little while to make sure I had enough money in the bank because I wanted to be sure that I was doing things the right way. Yes. And once I did, I said, okay, I'm going to go work for myself. And so I've been working for myself now about 3.5, almost 4 years. And that's really awesome. Been wonderful. That's awesome. Really been wonderful. Starting a new business is very exciting. It really helps you to develop yourself personally and professionally in ways that you don't expect. Yes. I have done everything from take the trash out to do the accounting to do the marketing. You do everything when you're starting out, and so
And put in long hours.
you put in very long hours, and you have to keep yourself pumped up, because sometimes you're the only one that's there. Sometimes I've been very fortunate as the business has grown to bring on more people, have wonderful interns, have a lot of support from the community and from other business owners and business mentors. That's just been really, really helpful. And I would just encourage anybody who's thinking about starting a business, be sure to get a mentor and be sure to take advantage of the free help. I know we were talking about earlier about the Small Business Administration and some of the resources for small businesses, and I can tell you one of the resources that's been really helpful for me is an organization called SCORE.
Yes, very familiar.
You familiar with SCORE? Yes.
Yeah. How would a person, just real quick, get information about them, and if they're thinking about starting their own business?
So SCORE, SCORE.org.
Okay.
If you go to their website, they'll give you, you can put in your address or your zip code, and they'll tell you where the offices are that are located. But everything they do is free, except like maybe a couple of things, but 98% of it's free, and which is great.
People need to take advantage of those resources.
Yes.
So I think I read you are an author. I want to hear about the book.
Right. So I am an author, and I have a new book coming out later this spring. And the book is about my political career, the past 25 years, and why I believe more women should be involved in the political process, and why. And I have the perspective of saying that from a woman who's had that experience professionally, who is a woman of color, and we're going to definitely be talking about what that means for women of color. It's interesting because when Roy Moore was running for Senate in Alabama last fall, his campaign really almost crossed the finish line until black women got involved. And, and I know that black women are amazing and do all sorts of things and have just all sorts of superpowers.
Yes. And what you can do when you come together.
And
Stop being separate.
Right.
Come together.
Right. And working together.
Yes.
That's so important.
Yes. Very important.
So important. And I can tell you that what's missing from the halls of Congress, what's missing from the conversations around how much money we should spend on health care, how much money we should spend on education, how much money we should spend on you name it, is the presence of women, the perspective of women, and the problem-solving approach that women have. Women tend to be very collaborative. Like, we work together typically to try to figure something out. Like, we put our heads together and we try to figure it out. And so, those are some of the things that we're going to talk about in the book. And
great. I am so excited. What is the name of it again?
Well, I can't tell you the name of it because my publisher says I have to wait a few more weeks before I go around telling people. But
Gotcha. Almost had you tell it.
Right.
So, I know you're very much involved with different charitable organizations, and I know there's one in particular that is very dear to you. Tell me about the organization and why it is so dear to you.
So one of the things that I'm really passionate about is breast cancer awareness and early detection. My best friend from high school, we've been friends since we were 14, she was diagnosed with breast cancer at 28. And she only found out because she and her husband decided that they were ready to start a family. So she went to the doctor just to make sure everything was okay. She was in the middle of doing her PhD at that time, and they found 2 lumps in her breast. One of them malignant, the other one was benign. And the doctors told her that she had to go to surgery right away. And so she went into surgery. They did a partial mastectomy. And then she had to go through chemo and radiation and the entire process. Thankfully, they caught it early, and she has been cancer-free for almost 15 years.
15 years.
which is wonderful. And in fact, she has a son now who just celebrated his 12th birthday.
Oh, that's
Right, exactly.
So after all the treatment, she was
After all
able
the
to go
treatment,
ahead
they now have 2 children, a girl and a
that's
boy,
wonderful.
a girl and a boy. And so because of her experience with breast cancer, she started an organization called Wishful Thinking.
Wishful thinking.
And Wishful Thinking is an organization that supports women who are going through breast cancer treatment.
Okay.
And the way that they do it is that they come around the families and they show them a lot of love. So if a mom has a child who's having a birthday, they will come in and throw a birthday party for the child so that mom and dad don't have to plan a birthday party. They will do Christmas shopping for you. They will cook dinner for you. They will make reservations for you. They will bring gift baskets with makeup and gift cards and just things to make women who are going through a really hard time feel better about themselves and just feel better about what they're having to go through, to know that they're not alone and that they have that support.
So we really hope that some people will look up that organization and make a donation. It would be very much appreciated. I know you, like myself, are a domestic violence spokesperson, not spokesperson per se, but, speak out against it, supportive of the women that are, and men, if they are, that are going through it, the victims. So let me know just a little bit about if you are involved in any organizations that are domestic violence organizations. And I know there's one in particular that that I support, if they have a website that you can give to everybody.
Okay, well, yes. So another issue that I really care a lot about is domestic violence prevention and eradication, and in all of its forms. And I think it's really important that we talk about that and we look for ways in relationships to solve problems in a way that doesn't involve violence. That doesn't involve violence, right? That involves keeping your hands to yourself. It's very things we learned in kindergarten, right? But that sometimes people forget. And so I don't know. Do you want me to talk about your?
Well, my process is actually right now in the process of being put together and everything.
Okay. So then I'll talk about it from a legislative perspective. I'm very vocal in terms of supporting increased funding for the Violence Against Women Act. The Violence Against Women's Act was passed back in the 90s, actually after the O.J. trial, O.J. Simpson trial, because of the acknowledgement that there was some domestic violence going on in his relationship with Nicole Brown Simpson. So they passed this law to bring awareness to domestic violence, make tougher laws against domestic violence, to increase prosecutions of domestic violence, to provide support for women and men who are trying to get out of situations. So transitional housing and shelter and job opportunities. There are a lot of reasons why people stay in relationships where there's violence happening, and a lot of them are financial. So making sure that people have the resources and the tools and the education and the prosecution and the documentation and the support from the legal system to get out of a situation that is not safe for them.
Yes. Thank you so much. And I think a lot of people also don't realize it's not always touching. Sometimes it's mental too. And so I try to tell people you don't have to stay somewhere where you're mentally abused as well. So I just wanted to mention that as well. I thank you so much. Let people know how they can come and get in contact with you and take advantage of your services from your company, as well as anything else you want, social media and all that good stuff.
Well, there are lots of ways that you can get in touch with me. First, our office number is 202-403-2294. You can certainly call our office during normal business hours and schedule an appointment. Also, you can reach us on social media. We have a Mickle Public Affairs. At Mickle Public Affairs is our Facebook page. You can also follow me on Twitter. Stephanie Mickle is my Twitter handle. And my name is spelled M-I-C-K-L-E, Stephanie Mickle on Twitter. let's see what else. I have a website, StephanieMickle.com. You're welcome to go there, and you can learn more about me. You can learn more about my book. You can learn more about the Mickle Public Affairs and some of the issues that we support.
Yes.
So yes, there's lots of ways that we can stay in touch, for sure.
Did you mention your email as well?
Oh, email is micklepublicaffairs@gmail.com.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I tell you people, she has got a wealth of resources that need to come and check out her firm, see what she's doing. Public affairs, I had no idea. So I thank you so much for sharing that with everyone, because I think a lot of people just have no idea what all goes on.
Can I say one other thing about that? If you're thinking about running for office, or if you're running for office, do not assume you know how to do that part. That is the part that trips people up more than almost anything else. So I just wanted to mention that.
That's right.
That in fundraising.
You know, we say all the time, let the specialist and the professional do what they do.
Do what they do.
That's exactly right. Well, we're going to be out of here, and look up Stephanie Mickle, guys. Got to look her up. This is a DC Nightlife exclusive. JV Jones is out of here.